Hi, I'm Dr. Alexandrina Vanke, and this is Ethnographic Writing and Concept series. Unstructured field notes, interview transcripts, videos, photos, some creative data. Oh God, what to do with them? In this episode, I would like to talk about how to write with multimodal and multisensory data in ethnography. But let's start with discussing what multisensory multimodal data are. When ethnographers do research, they often combine different types of methods. It can be interviewing, participant observation, drawing, sketching, documentary photography or documentary filming, some other creative methods. And these methods bring different types of data. This data can be of different types, of different formats, of different textures, and it's quite challenging to understand what to do with them at the stage of writing. There is a debate about what can be considered multisensory data. Some people claim that multisensory data reflect and represent our sensorial experiences. For example, it can be soundscapes, it can be audio files, it can be visual documentation with the help of ethnographic documentary or ethnographic documentary photos, or it can be some creative outputs by research participants, which are created throughout the process of interviewing or focus groups or any other research activities in participatory research. And at the same time, there is another opinion on this issue that one method, let's say drawing, can be considered as multisensory participatory method. Why? Because drawing engages with participants' imaginaries, their sense of touch, their sense of vision, and drawing can visualize some theoretical, analytically constructed senses. One drawing, let's say a drawing of a neighborhood, can visualize a sense of place, a sense of time, a sense of local atmosphere, and that's why this method can be considered as multisensory. But this position is also criticized. Anyway, when you have different types of data which represent different types of senses, either analytically constructed or classically, or classical senses like hearing, touch, vision, smell, and so on, then you need to think carefully about how you will analyze this data and how you will write with them. In writing a method of inquiry, Richardson and St. Pierre view ethnographic writing as a method in two senses. First, writing as a method of data collection, along with participant observation, interviewing, and so on. And second, writing as a method of data analysis, along with structuring, comparing, coding, categorization, and so on. St. Pierre explains in her part of this text that she is perceiving writing as a method of thinking. Let's return to St. Pierre. In her part of this text, she writes that I used writing as a method of data analysis by using writing to think. Thought happened in the writing. As I wrote, I watched word after word appear on the computer screen. Ideas, theories I had not thought before I wrote them. Sometimes I wrote something so marvelous it startled me. I doubt I could have thought such a thought by thinking alone. And I use writing with multisensory data for thinking about ideas, for crystallization of my thoughts and arguments, and for developing concepts. For writing with this disparate data, I use a metaphor of assemblage. In arts, assemblage is a 3D art object which is made of materials of different types, shapes, and forms. These materials being put together by an artist create a whole new object, art object. So if we compare this with the work of an ethnographer, ethnographer tries to create a whole piece of text with the help of these different types of data, which can be in a written form, like interview transcripts, written field notes, and at the same time, it can be visual data, let's say drawings made by research participants, or sketches made by a researcher, or photographs which were taken by a researcher, or maybe a photographer, or drawings made by an artist if we collaborate with artists or photographers in our research. And in academia, a final output of your research is usually a journal article, or a book chapter, or a thesis, or a book, or some other type of publication. And for writing a journal article, you, on the one hand, should follow particular rules which are strict. An article has a very well defined structure. So the article consists of introduction, literature review, sometimes it can be a section about the context of your research, then methodology section, then the findings section, and this is the main part of your article, then discussion and conclusion. And everything finishes with a reference list. So how to integrate such kind of multisensory data in your article, which has a very strict structure? These visuals can be, on the one hand, the materials for analysis. You can combine the analysis of visuals, let's say drawings made by research participants, with their interview quotes and with interpretations of your field notes. The second way of how you can use these visual data, multisensory data, is to use them as illustrations. For example, if you have photographs, or if you have your own sketches of the landscape, if you study, let's say, the city, the landscape. I studied landscapes of the industrializing neighborhoods. And you can use these sketches for illustrations, which are not similar to photographs, but they they visualize your subjective perception of this landscape, and these drawings can contain your emotions or your subjective perception or your subjective vision of this site. As well as you can include sketches of your research participants if it is not allowed to take photographs. Drawings by research participants can perform one more function. They can strengthen the voice of your research participant. Their visual expression are particular representations of their lived experiences, and along with interview quotes, they can support not only your argument, but they also can emphasize the expression, the voice of research participant. And finally, these visual materials can help you to reconstruct particular concepts which you explore and develop in your research. In case of my research, I asked my research participants to draw the neighborhood where I did research, and these drawings helped me later to develop the idea about coexisting structures of feeling in Russia's deindustrializing neighborhoods, which are exemplified by coexistence of Soviet and post-Soviet structures of feeling. Soviet referred to industrial structures, industrial objects, industrial buildings in the neighborhood, while post-industrial structures were related to some neoliberal development of neighborhoods, gentrification, and some new meanings and values which are attributed to these neighborhoods. And the idea is to connect your data, interview quotes, field notes, drawings, sketches, with the help of a story. So you need to create a narrative. And this narrative is structured around your overarching argument. With the help of this narrative story and your argument, you also connect different parts of the article. The similar is true for an academic monograph. For my book, The Urban Life of Workers in Post-Soviet Russia, I created a plan, which was a skeleton of my text, and I connected each chapter with the help of an overarching argument about workers' active engagement in everyday struggles within the deindustrializing settings and within the larger neoliberal, neo-authoritarian order of power. In some parts of my book, I integrated drawings by research participants, drawings of their neighborhoods to illustrate how these neighborhoods look like, and at the same time to give voice to my research participants and to show their visual expressions, and at the same time these drawings were the materials of analysis which I interpreted together with the explanations of drawings by research participants and together with my interpretations of their interview quotes and my field notes. At the same time, I created my own sketches of research participants' portraits from photographs because I didn't want to show the faces of my research participants to avoid their de-anonymization and identification. And I also created theoretical sketches of my theory. These sketches helped me to visualize the coherent, analytical, conceptual frame which I constructed throughout the process of doing ethnography, throughout the process of analysis and writing. So the first chapter of my book includes these theoretical drawings, theoretical sketches, which explain visually my understanding of the concept of structure of feeling as a mediating principle which connects all individual experiences and individual experiences. And it also contains a sketch of the concept of everyday struggle, which I develop through the example of Russian society. You can find more examples about how to write with multisensory data in my publications. If you find it helpful, please leave comments under this video what you think about how to write with multisensory, multimodal ethnographic data. Stay tuned. See you in the next episodes.